You guys, today we have a special episode for you guys. We have the author, what do you want me to call you? Writer, author?
I'm just a DeAndre Mayfield book writer.
There you go. We got DeAndre Mayfield with us today. He will be breaking down and pretty much introducing his new book to you titled King Me. Raw Topic is in the house today.
We're gonna get by basketballs here. Tell us something that makes you happy.
Perfect.
This man has been running from the camera. Okay. Do you play outside? Yes. Am I your cousin?
Stay tuned, you guys. I'm about to get some more footage. I'll be back at y'all. My name is Hamin Phillips,
And I'm Renee Beck Santiago.
and you guys are watching Raw Topic.
We're here with 41-year-old DeAndre Mayfield today, who has agreed to do his first and maybe only his first and possibly only book review of his new book that's coming out at his book release party next Saturday on September 14th from 6 to 9. He does have a page up with the new book. It's called King Me, and Hamin and I have read this book and dissected this book, and we are happy to announce it's phenomenal. It is a phenomenal book. We highly recommend anybody to read this book. And we're here to go over some of the things in the book that we thought were really interesting and just kind of do a short book review with him. He normally doesn't do book reviews, so we're very happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming today about the book. And DeAndre is a Racine resident, and he is in charge of restoring furniture with Project Restoration. He is known for his motivation and helps the community in a very large scale. Many people know him from a motivational standpoint and follow him. And so to have him here to talk about his book is a pleasure for us, and we're very excited to do that today. And he does plan to, he has had 23 books that he has written in total. And this will be his third book that's been released, correct? Your fifth book, I'm sorry, his fifth book that's been released. I'm definitely going to want all of them now that I've read this one. And if you are not on the King Me event page and on the list to be at that party next Saturday, you definitely want to hit up the King Me event page and sign up and request to be part of that party before he has hit maximum capacity with that. So that I would request to be added to his list for the party next Saturday.
True. And before we get started, you guys, I want to give a big thank you to, who gave this to you?
Carol and John.
Yes, thank you guys for the champagne. We really appreciate that. And we will be enjoying that tonight.
And when you gave it to me, you told me we had to drink it on our hot topic, but really it's raw topic.
So we appreciate you guys providing that.
So, DeAndre, before we get into your book a little bit, and there was just emotional parts of this book that were so interesting and intriguing. And before we get into asking you about some specifics about the book, I want to ask you some questions, okay, that a lot of us want to know about the book. And I wrote them down, and I got me my signed copy. You definitely want your King Me signed copy. This is going to be a big hit, probably all over the country. But I wanted to ask you a couple questions. Where do you get your ideas from for your books?
I have a creative mind. I can't really pinpoint what direction I want to take when I'm writing a book. A book for me is like whatever you want to happen, you just make it happen. So writing a book for me is like it's inspirational, it's motivational, it comes from a lot of different aspects of my life.
Right.
And it's not easy writing a book. I mean, I've had, so many ideas for a book. I even tried writing a couple of scripts. But for me to have that concentration and to get through it all, I find myself losing interest halfway there. So I I appreciate the fact that you follow through And one thing I want to mention about his book that I really enjoy was the fact that, a lot of it talks about Racine, and to read a book that feels home and local to you, I like the fact that the character was from Racine, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was pretty cool to read a book with someone mentioning Racine and mentioning parts of Racine that you're familiar to. So I thought that was a pretty good thing right there.
It was, yeah, we talked about that a couple times. The fact that it's just, it's just so interesting that, this person is from Racine. So what is your writing process like? Do you start writing and then stop writing, or do you write for a few months and stop for a few months, or do you just write it all in one setting in a week, or what's your style? What do you do? A lot of us, our authors, want to know. A lot of us, like Hamin said, we want to finish those books that we've started.
Right.
So tell us what you do to kind of get through it to the end, to have the focus to get to the end.
I think after I put my first book out and completed it, had it printed up, that was my motivation to keep on continuing to at least put them together. And now it took years for me. It's 7 years in between putting out my last book.
And now.
So yeah, and it's like I'm inspired to get back into my books. A lot of people didn't know I was an author, especially having that fast array of books.
Right.
But now it's a feeling for me. So I'm back inspired to do books. So now every 6 to 9 months, I'm gonna just fire off another book just because I'm in that mode.
Yeah, I mean, the fact, the quality of this book and the story and the content, I would definitely say keep writing.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't put the book down.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. For sure. We were just like, wow.
Yeah, the content was great. So, I mean, with that kind of talent, I would say keep going. You'll be the next Steve Harvey on the bestsellers list.
For sure. And this probably could be. For sure. I mean, we couldn't put the book down. I mean, it was just fabulous. It was beyond phenomenal. It should.
I was very surprised.
I was too. And
of the read.
So what made you guys surprised?
It wasn't that. Okay, so I've met you several times. I know you're a great person. I know you're intelligent, okay?
Right.
So I went to start, I guess maybe because I haven't read a really good book in a long time. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it had to do with you per se, but I think I was like, we've been reading books that are just like so-so, like, okay, these are so-so. Mm-hmm. And when we started reading your book, it was like, it took over our life for like a week. We were like, okay, we can't stop here. We got to get to the next chapter. Right. We were canceling plans to read the end of the book. And so we were surprised because we hadn't read a book that was so good like that in so long. I think we were just like, wow.
Well, not only that, but the fact that we know him, grew up with him. Exactly. So the fact that it came from him was like, wow. He was that talented, because I didn't know that side of him. So,
see, this is the crazy part, right? And this is the reason why I want to get back into my books, because a lot of people know that I've written a book, and they always ask me like, hey, how do I write a book, blah, blah, blah. So I said I need to get back in the game. Like, I was inspired by other people, like sitting down, talking to me, telling me their stories.
Right.
I'm like, I know I have so many great stories in my closet, just sitting there.
Yes.
So let me fire them off. But not only to get my stories back out there, I want to get as many people that has great stories out there.
Right,
that they want to tell, whether it's fictional, whether it's poetry, whether it's motivational, because this is my hometown. You got to bring it on for the hometown.
You did. You brought Racine up a lot.
It's a lot more talent than Racine.
Yeah, you brought Racine up a lot in the book. Were there, when we were reading stuff, we were like, okay, one of the main characters watched CNN every morning, okay? And that was his main thing. He watched CNN every morning because he felt like it was one of the best news channels, okay? Yes. And so we were thinking, I wonder if DeAndre watches CNN every morning.
Well, exactly. While we were reading the book, you mentioned, the grandmother in the book and people in the book. And I said, I wonder if these people in the book relate to him in a personal level and were parts of his life, And so that was pretty... It was, I don't know, a mystery, because we're trying to figure out, is this fictional or is this parts of your life that really happened?
Right, were there secrets in the book that someone who knows you might say, oh, I remember that time, maybe he added that in.
Or wait a minute, you call, so-and-so this name, and now you got this in a book, so is this me you're talking about? I'm just wondering, did you run into that yet?
It's funny you say that because I reference, in my first book, I reference a lot of parts of my mother. And when she read the book, she just hollered, because
She
it was
knew
her.
Really?
when
Yeah,
she was
so-
reading
exactly.
that it was her.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even though the name in the book's not her name.
No.
Okay,
well,
but she
I named
still
her,
knew.
I named her in a rap in this book actually.
Oh, really?
I have a scene where he's. I can't tell you much of the book, but
Right.
it's a scene in this book that when my mom first read it, she jumped because she knew I was talking about. It's something that me and her talked about.
Okay, so
That
okay.
only you and her might
That
know.
only us know.
That's
So,
what's
yes.
that's what's so interesting because we're like, is this
Well-
a secret in his life?
Well, Renee, Kayla Jade said, "Tell us about it. What is the storyline?"
we're gonna.
do you wanna
we're
do
gonna-
that, or-
we're gonna get to that?
I'll tell you the story.
all right,
now.
let 'em break it
See,
down real quick.
I'm still tripping off the fact that you two dived so deep into this book.
We
I'm
did.
impressed. And
We
I wanna
did.
say,
Put it down.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you. I appreciate
sure.
that.
Oh, for sure.
But-
It
Thanks
deserved
for
it. It deserved
providing
it.
us with a
Yes.
copy. I know that the copies are limited edition right now, but the fact that we were able to get a hold of one, we appreciate that.
Well, they
Yeah.
limited in to a degree because I want enough. We gonna get them out to enough people. I have plenty copies to hand out. But, to give you a quick bio on the book, it's about a character named James Hamilton, nicknamed King. He grew up in a house with his grandmother and his mother.
His grandmother Medea.
Yeah.
Okay, and
So,
his mother Gloria.
Yes.
Okay, so we feel like we know them.
I
Okay,
see.
all right. We got mad at them throughout the book sometimes.
Right. So I really don't want to give much of the book away. I get carried away talking about the book, and then I end up spilling all the beans.
Right, and we want people to read it because it's worth the read.
King is a main character. He's an 18, 19-year-old boy trying to find his way. Single family home. Is a single grandmother, single mother. His mother has an addiction, so she's in the house. She's present in the house, but she's not an active role model in the house. The grandmother, in many black families, many families in general, the grandmother holds down the whole household.
Oh yeah, and there were some chapters where Medea was just like, she was just giving it to King and everybody. We felt that. We felt that totally.
So let me give you a backdrop on Medea first.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get emotional in this setting, but Medea is the main character. Medea is from my grandmother that just passed away.
I know, and we're so sorry to hear that. And we understand that you've still taken the time to talk about this book, going through that, and we're so sorry to hear that. But
we joyous. It's not a time of sadness. We joyous.
Right.
So, but Medea, the character in Medea, that's after my grandmother. There's so many aspects. When people want to know how close I was with my grandmother and how powerful she was, read this book. So when I write a novel, everything is pieces of my life. It's just if I can sit here and write a novel right now, and I just write whatever I want to happen. We can be in this novel, having a podcast. This could be a scene in the book.
Right.
So it's all part of your lifestyle.
for sure.
And this character Medea here, the story makes it so awesome because of Medea.
It does.
Medea she's not the head character, but she is the head character.
Kind of the rock of the whole
she's a rock.
story.
Yeah, she
can
was
you-
a rock. Remember, I mean, when we were like, we were actually speaking out loud what Medea was
Renee, can
saying in
you-
some of those chapters.
Right.
And we got motivated ourselves. We were, we weren't feeling well, and Medea was talking in the book, and we were like, oh, we got to keep it moving. We got to keep it moving.
Yeah. Can you actually hold up the book to the camera real quick
Sure,
and
sure.
just show the cover?
So the book is called King Me.
Here, let me do
Okay.
because I can bring it a little closer.
Sorry, we've obviously dissected it, so.
Okay, so that way you guys got an idea of the cover and
I mean, we're quite certain we want to see this on a national bestseller. This is definitely worth national news. So in the beginning of the book, you wrote about the last days.
Yes.
So that was interesting too.
Yes.
And in reading that part in the very first page, that really drew me in because I'm like, okay, he's going to talk about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, of course. It's Medea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Medea.
I wrote a lot of questions. Oh gosh, I don't know if we're gonna have time for all of them. Obviously, at your book party, you'll probably be able to answer more questions. We don't want to give everything away, but there were some pivotal moments in this book that were that actually just were emotional and made us just stop and just we were just like, wow, this was a pivotal moment. You know, even the part in the beginning of the book where, you know, he's going to college and he's a college student and he's on his bike and he's asking a girl out and he's like, you want to ride on my bike?
Right.
You know,
Can I give you a ride home? You know, it's gonna cost you 50 cents. You know, because gas prices is up.
yes.
So there was some lot of humor in this book,
Right,
which
yes,
was
sir.
nice. And the character James in the book, he was
King.
That character reminded me kind of myself, you know, because King was an intelligent guy, but he wasn't into the BS of, you know, doing what all these other cats out here was doing, you know, drugs and all this. He was a different kind of guy, and
they said
and they
he was
teased
just
him.
different.
They made fun of him because of that,
Exactly.
because he did have his own style, and he, you know, and I'm like, wow, that kind of reminded me when I was younger how I kind of did my own thing and just tried to stay away from negative things. So.
But I'm gonna give you guys a spiller on this. One person gave me a review. She said, and going to that point, she said, like what Medea told King, you don't have to have a castle. You don't have to have shiny, broad breasts of gold. It takes being a king inside your heart. Mm-hmm. So, and I wrote the story like that with that character with those inputs in it because it don't matter what the glitz and glow or what you're chasing or doing this. That don't make you who you are.
Right.
And that's what King was. He was just an average good guy.
Nice.
He wasn't attracted to all the bling and getting into the mess, whatever, but it still made him a solid king.
It did, and he as the book progressed, he got he went through a lot of ups and downs, but he got more solid in who he was as a person.
Exactly.
And he realized things that were important and things that weren't important.
Right.
And you could see King developing as a person through the years were going by. And I thought that point was so interesting. And so I wrote some questions. So when King met Gloria, and
Well, Gloria was his mother. You mean when he
I'm sorry.
When he met Tamika.
When he met Tamika. Yeah, so Tamika was such a strong part of his life. She was strong. We were reading a lot of this, like, wow, they had a lot of connections.
Don't tell too much.
I won't tell too much about Tamika, but
can I at least say Tamika been through some things? I mean,
She's been through some things.
She probably had a life a lot of women might be able to relate to. You know, maybe.
A lot. You'd be surprised how many Tamikas out here.
exactly,
You'd be surprised.
for sure. And the background, even though Tamika and King were going through so much, they continuously said, I think on more than one occasion, she didn't just need him, he needed her.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So they needed each
said
other.
that.
He
I
said
think
it
might
to
have
her.
said
He
that.
said,
I
no, I
need
need you too.
Right.
I need you too.
Can I say something real quick? Some of the book, as far as the chemistry between the main character James and Tamika, it had that love and basketball feeling. That's the kind of love they had. You know, it was rocky, it was complicated, but it was strong, right? Did you get that too? I mean,
Yeah.
and I like that part because it really reminded me of that kind of relationship that's not easy. Like their relationship was not an easy relationship. They had to fight for it every day.
Yeah.
So that
'cause
that
there was
kept
a
me wanting
scene-
to read more about
Yeah.
that.
See, this is weird because I wrote all those details trying to express it the right way, and y'all caught it.
Yeah.
Like
we-
everybody that's reading and seeing to catch it, that's kind of amazing to me.
And that's your goal probably as an
it is.
author.
Exactly. I
Like
spent
we
many
were
hours
catching
trying
the
to-
behind the scenes, like
Yeah.
this is deeper than just King and Tamika. This is deeper than that.
Right.
This is like what a lot of people go through every day.
Right,
Like
right.
one of the scenes where he was saying, we fought half the day, but then we made love the other half.
Right,
You know? And a lot of couples go through stuff like that, but they had a lot of trials and tribulations and a lot of deep things that they had to get through. And there were a lot of points in the book where I thought that they weren't going to make it, that they were going to break up, or that something else was going to happen. We can't talk about the ending in one of the parts in the book where I threw my book down. I was so angry.
Let's take a quick minute, you guys. If any of you guys watching have a question for DeAndre in his book, feel free to ask that now, so we can kind of get those questions out of the way. If any of you guys that are watching have read the book, feel free to give your opinion and let him know what you think while he is here. So I'll be watching for that. So just fire away with any questions you guys might have for him, and I'll be watching for it in the comment section.
There's some questions. My mom said I'll be at the book signing event. Well, you'll have to
Hey,
add her
Mom.
if that's okay.
Hey,
We have to ask
I know.
DeAndre to add you, Mom, first, okay?
Yes, Mother, you can come.
Okay, he approved it. Thank you, Mom. That's so nice. She's supportive with me and with everything that she wants to read the book, so she's excited.
And it looks like Chloe Cole said this book is a must read. So
Hey, Coley Cole.
Did she read
You know
it
her?
too?
Yeah, that's my homegirl.
okay, so you
Yeah,
think
so she should
Okay.
chime in. Do
She's
you have
one of
anything?
the first person to read the book. Well, she read the first part.
If she's still on, please chime in on
If
your
you're
part.
still on, and you've read the book, let's talk about some of the things about the book without giving it away that DeAndre might be able to help us with answers with.
Yes, but do not tell too much of the book, man.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, do not.
Okay,
Screen
I won't.
violence.
I know. I'm like, I just want to talk. Maybe you know what? Maybe once a lot of people buy it, could we have
Oh, we
another
Yeah.
sit down
Well, after his event.
after his
and
event?
people have read
and
it.
people have read it. Maybe in like
Maybe we can come back with a couple people that read it and have like a round
See, that's
table.
even better.
could we have
about
like a
the
round
book.
table? That's
And
going to
everybody
be more
can
exciting.
share.
Because I want to say,
their
what did
thoughts.
you think about this, and what did you think about that, and
That's a good idea.
yeah, I think we should do that.
Maybe
once.
we should do another show.
We don't want to.
afterwards
We don't
with
want
that.
to. But there was a painted picture of the grandma as the primary caregiver. She was she was the solid grandma, and she, in the part of the book, it talked about how she raised many boys, not just King,
Right?
and she, even in the church was helping raising people and getting people to do what's right. And so the background of the book was so motivational.
Right.
And although it wasn't a motivational book, it was.
Right. Right.
So that's how we took it. I mean, we got motivated on so many different chapters, and even though it's fiction, it was just uplifting. So
One
was that your
question-
intention?
Of course.
One of my questions I have for you. Wait a minute. Okay, let me read the comments after. Was any part of James, the main character, was any part of his life your life? Any part of it whatsoever?
Had to be.
So James is would you say is he? How can I say this?
James is a unique character. This book, I'm still yet to write a book about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there's a main character, I've written books where the main character is a female.
Right.
So it's really just fiction, just certain aspects, bits and pieces might relate to my life, but not per se like pieces of my life. I don't. Maybe subliminally I might put something in there. I don't know.
Okay.
But I try my best not to make it something in my life.
Wow.
You know what
Okay,
I
I
mean?
thought, I wanted to remember to ask you that. Okay. We also have a question from Melissa. She said, "When does the next one come out? Are you working on it? Do you know her?"
Melissa Clinton.
Hi, Melissa.
Yes.
You know
she's,
her.
Hi, Mike. Oh, my cousin wants a copy sent to Georgia. I'll have to
definitely.
buy a copy
Well,
for you and send it out to Mike. We'll
They
send it out to
can,
you,
yeah,
Mike.
they
in
can
Georgia.
order it. Do you have?
They can they can inbox me on Facebook. Facebook pay me right there. I mail it off the next day.
Because they
Oh,
can.
okay.
There's the
You can do
Facebook
that.
app. They can pay you Venmo, I believe it is,
Right,
or
okay.
PayPal.
You can do
Easy
all
way
that.
to
Sure,
pay.
yeah.
Send
We
them
could
right
get
to you with
it.
an
We could
address.
figure it out how to get
Yeah.
it to Georgia, Mike. No problem. Thanks
After
for
this
watching.
week, it'll be a whole website.
Yeah, you're gonna
Okay.
actually. Yeah, he's gonna have a website, you guys, for this book soon. So in about a week or so, he's working on that website. So you guys can actually purchase it right off his website pretty soon.
So to answer Miss Melissa's question,
Okay.
I'm working on another book.
Are you?
Yeah, this is the book that all my other books I've written. I'm working on a book about myself.
Okay,
And,
like a
things
biography.
It's more of a memoir. I'm too young to write an autobiography.
Okay.
But it's gonna be more of a memoir, a short period of time in my life, probably from 13 years old to the current day. I've been trying to work on that now. That's why she's asking when's the next one coming out, because I'm slow on putting books out, but she know I'm writing another book.
Nice.
Hey, slow is okay if they're this phenomenal. Whoa.
We'll be one of the first to want to get a copy of that.
Yeah, or a review. Now there was a part in the book where Tamika came in the church. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And it was a pivotal moment, even when they were talking about how she smelled. Okay? And I don't know how to talk about it without talking about it, but is there any like little pieces we can give the audience? Is there anything we can read? Can I read just a little paragraph or something?
Can we give a little synopsis of the book?
Can I just read just a little? Okay. So obviously we want to respect you and we want people to read it. We don't want to give everything away because it's just phenomenal.
It's so
But
hard
if
to talk about it
is so
without
hard.
giving away something.
The church speech is so good. I want to get to the point where she says. So here she takes the microphone. Tamika does. Okay, I won't read a lot of it. Okay, out of respect for you.
Go ahead.
But she takes the microphone straight from the minister. She takes it out of the minister's hand. She turns to the congregation and she says, "I'm a mess." And she cried out to the whole congregation. I mean, can you just feel something like that? She's like, "I am a mess. I'm dressed like a hooker. I smell like pure alcohol and probably a few other things, but I'm here and I made it." And she just goes on to talk about things in that church speech. It was so pivotal and just changing. And she just wants to change her life. And then everything twists to a different turn. And obviously I won't bring that up because people have to read it.
Right.
But she finally makes the decision to be with God and change her life after all these things she went through in the beginning of the book. And it just took a total different turn. Slight different turn. And so it was just amazing. I mean, what did you like that part of the book where she was in the church?
I felt like she was kind of repenting.
Yeah.
And even after this happened, I'm not going to say what happened, but even after this incident happened, the first thing she thought about was God.
Yeah.
And she knew at that moment that something had to change in her life, and she went straight to church. And she pretty much repented and wanted to tell people, look, I'm a bad person, or I've done bad, and I'm here and I'm ready to change my life, and from now on you will see me here.
Right. And she mentioned, she didn't care about her clothes. She thought after the fact, oh, I had these tight clothes on. She didn't care about none of that. She was like,
this is the thing with people. I'm gonna just say people in general. They can live their life and go happy, go lucky until something happened, and the first person they call on is God.
Right.
I don't care who you are, where you from. Something tragic enough happened. You call it.
They don't acknowledge him until something happens.
We talked about that last week. I said we're in a society when we're praying when things go bad.
Exactly.
We're not praying when things go good, and that and what's going on with that. So that was just such a pivotal moment because it was just so life shaking. Where she didn't care what she looked like at that point. Right. She's just like, I'm just here and I'm raw and I'm just gonna change it up.
Exactly.
So, and there was a couple pivoted points. There was so many different.
You have so many notes.
I have so many notes. There were so many. I can't wait till we have a book review where we can all discuss.
You guys have to look at this. Look at this book.
Here's the camera right here.
This lady marked this book. Look at this. Like every page is just markered up. I've never seen nothing like this.
Probably in your life.
She really dissected the book.
I dissected it because it had a background meaning that just meant something to me.
Even when I was getting ready for the show and everything, she reading it to me, because I couldn't, I was trying to get everything ready. So she was like, well, let me read to you so that, you can. So she even helping me get through the book. And I'm like, wow, she was really dedicated to getting this thing done. I never doubt
that you read a book of mine.
No, don't. Because, I think the point that the thing that kept me reading this book was just the background of it, like how I felt reading it. I didn't want to stop reading it.
That's good.
I didn't want to stop. I wanted to go to the next chapter, and I was like, oh, I want to know what's going to happen now. And I think it was more of the fact that I think anyone who reads this book, no matter who it is, can relate to different types of storms. No matter what it is, no matter if it's your grandma raising you. And just like the scenery of like when King was watching CNN every morning, and the schoolmates, how they kind of made fun of him, but he kind of came back with jokes and didn't really care. Those things were great. Did you see any pivotal moments about King that brought that kind of shocked you? There were so many that you were
I don't want to,
wow.
give away the book, but there were moments where King changed from when we started to get to know him into when he met Tamika, into the love they had, into what she put him through, and we saw him changing almost to a point where he was just going through it. And I think every guy, especially people, I can relate to going through those changes. Yeah. And I think every guy can relate to having something happen in their life to where it changes their perspective of right and wrong in desperate times and makes them step out of their character. And James had that moment where he stepped out of his character. Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely seen that, and that it was quite interesting to see that happen.
But then he started flipping a little bit toward the end of the book and kind of going downhill a little bit for a minute until he had to kind of check himself. And there was a shocking point, which I'm not going to bring up, but there was a real shocking point. Remember when I said to you, how could he just do that? How could he do that?
Why would
there
he,
were so
why
many
would he throw it all,
things.
why would he risk it, There
were so many things where I would be like, why would he risk it? Why would he do this? What's his rationale for that? But then it always came back with, okay, that's why he did this, and that's why he did that, because it was almost like a king game of chess. He had to make them moves to make certain things happen. So it was just really great.
See, that's part of the cover, the chess pieces. Mm-hmm. It just so happened that his name was King, but the guest life is a chess game. Mm-hmm. It's all about how you move your pieces.
Right.
So that's the story of a chess player in this book.
For sure, because he could have made different moves, and things would have ended up so different.
Exactly.
And he had opportunities almost in every chapter.
But he couldn't move
to
wrong.
Make different moves.
He couldn't move wrong.
What?
He couldn't move wrong. You know what I mean?
Player?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's game over. You make that wrong move, game over.
exactly. So
Yeah.
he definitely was trying to be on point. Every move he made.
Did anyone list any additional questions?
You guys, we are only going to be live for a couple more minutes. So if you guys got any questions while DeAndre is here about his book, how to get a copy, where to get a copy, anything you got, I would suggest you guys ask him right now while he is here.
There was one more quote I wanted to ask you if I could read. This was like so good, but hilarious.
That's us.
It was so good.
That's us.
So because the book is in Racine and in Wisconsin, he's got a quote in the book that I thought was just hilarious but great. It says, "Wisconsin ain't all about milk and cheese. The biggest thing you could do is underestimate me." Let me reread that. "Wisconsin ain't all about milk and cheese. The biggest thing you could do is underestimate me."
Wow. Yeah, that was deep.
So we're not all about milk and cheese in this state, right? And this book proves it for sure.
And people do catch, think they can catch you slipping when you tell me from Wisconsin,
Yeah, from the Midwest.
Even when I was on the railroad and I was out of town for a while, people heard I was from Racine, Wisconsin, so they can treat you a certain way because you say Wisconsin instead of California or Florida.
Oh, right.
Until you got to check them on that and be like, nah, man, just because I'm from, you ain't never been to Milwaukee.
Or Racine.
Racine is about as crazy as Chicago, And sometimes you got to let people know that don't slip on little Racine, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there was a part where you said in the book, what was it? We talked about it for like an hour. Racine is a place that that'll never let you go. There was
it calls you back.
There was a sentence about that. It'll never let you go. It'll call you back. Isn't that true? With so many people who
it depends on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can grab a city and never let the city go.
True, true. So which is it, right?
It's all about what you're doing, where you got your mind set to. So, in past lives and younger years, that could be held true. But
I related to it because even when I was going for the railroad for a while, I couldn't stop thinking about Racine.
Yeah.
And, it kept calling me back. And this is the second time I came back because I was in Florida when in my younger years. I was in Orlando for a while and I came back then. I think it's something about Racine.
You came back twice.
Yeah, it's something about Racine that keeps calling you home, So I was able to relate to that.
Racine is home.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your favorite character in your book? Was it Medea? Was it Gloria?
Yeah, who did you enjoy writing?
Was it Tamika?
Yeah, what
you know
story?
Who my favorite person is? Tamika.
Her,
It's,
yeah,
it's
her
crazy
life.
Oh
that.
yeah, I love
So
Tamika.
you do see it's like 5 characters.
Oh
The
yes.
story of 5 characters.
We have
intertwined.
Medea, Gloria,
Yeah.
King,
And all
James.
of them are displayed equally, so it's hard for
Right.
me to like say one is bigger than the other.
Who has the strongest personality?
Tamika,
Tamika, yes.
all day long. Tamika.
All day long.
All day long.
I love Tamika.
Yeah,
She was
has
she
the
was
strongest,
she was a strong woman.
I lean towards Medea, basically because my grandmother was one of my favorites, number one, and
Right.
you just got to show that. I don't care, a male. You can have the roughest, toughest dude on the block. You know this. Roughest, toughest dude on the block. Knock everything out coming up. Might shoot up everything. But it's that one old lady, little 100-pound old lady, that'll tell them,
Shut up, sit down, and come here.
And they will.
that's a Medea. That's everybody got a Medea.
Yes.
So, and to show that how she can, that one old lady, fragile old lady, can keep everything in a knot.
Mind.
Yeah, and
You know
keep
what I
it
mean?
all in line.
So, and Medea did that.
She did do that.
She did that. So,
She did that.
to me, that was to me, that was my favorite character.
Yeah, it's probably a toss up for me between Medea and Tamika. I really enjoyed both
Tamika
of their
definitely had the
characters.
more overbearing character.
Yeah, she was overbearing. Maybe that's why I like her.
She was a
I don't know,
strong
but-
character, and her storyline was great. So
Yeah, but I mean, King had these qualities that were just. They were brilliant too. King
Yeah.
had brilliant qualities. You know,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
he was a silent but brilliant
he
guy.
seemed like a positive
you know?
person. You know, he was the type that was like, "Hey, my job ain't the best job, but it's enough to put money in my pocket."
Yep.
And you know, he didn't complain about his life, even
No,
though his
he
life
didn't.
was tough and what he'd been through. He always made it through every day, and he looked at the positive things in his life. And I think Tamika recognized that about him. I think that's what drew her into him, was just his attitude. And that's what made him different from these other cats that was trying to holler at Tamika, was that this guy, he didn't have much, but what he had, he was so proud of, and he just appreciated it.
And Tamika has seen it all before.
She did right.
Yeah, she seen the
That's-
money.
So she's
and
seen
she
it.
wasn't impressed by all that
She
anymore.
ended up not being impressed by all that.
But she saw in him that he was just a different kind of guy, and that he was down to earth. You know.
Exactly.
And so, how long did it take you totally to write this book? I wrote down some additional questions.
I couldn't tell you, maybe a year in total.
A year total.
Yeah, with this book, it was initially it was a part 1 and a part 2. I put part 1 out, and I looked at the date when I put this book out. It was exactly 10 years ago.
Wow.
Where I put King part 1 out, and it was going to be a 3-part series: King 1, King 2, King 3. And I got 2.5 books in. So
And
I
that's
just
why it
closed
says on the
up.
back a bonus edition.
Yeah, bonus edition, 2 books combined into one. Because years ago when I printed the first book out, like these books cost a couple dollars to print out.
Right.
So when I put the first book out, that was 10 years ago, I only have probably maybe 100, 200 copies left. Mm-hmm. So if I'd have put King 2 out, everybody that years ago forgot about it or didn't even see it. It'd be like, hey, where's part 1 at?
Oh, right. So,
So then
that
I
was
would
a
have
good
to
idea.
reprint the old books. So I just said I'd put it all in one, get it done.
That was a good idea.
So I don't think, unless I get rich, I don't think I'll be putting out sequels. I just keep
No,
combining
because
the
I was
books.
thinking just to have like a King Me sequel. I mean, this could
It would
almost
have to be
be.
something. It would have to be something where you don't have to be like a part 2. It could be a spinoff of.
Yeah,
You know,
or
it
you know
wouldn't
who
be like
needs to
part one
see
or part
this
2.
is the author of Power.
Yeah.
People,
It could be within the.
This is way better than that line, even.
Well, I can create the power. I can
Right.
be the next power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I
That's
don't
what I
think-
mean.
look, I'm-
Or
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
You might want
that's
to
what
take
I'm
your
saying.
writing skills to the big
Exactly.
screen. Screenwriter.
So, do you get writer's block?
No.
No.
Well, yeah, but this book that I'm trying to write now, I have, because it's about me. It's not fictional. So I want to be. I have a background where I hustle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hustle a lot. I can't say a little bit because I did time for hustling a lot. So the reason why it's taking so long for me to write the book about me is because I don't want to glorify anything that I did. I got a lot of bumps and bruises along the way that won't be glorified.
That made you who you are
but
today.
like some of the kids only look at, like these rappers, kids only look at the glitter. And that's what they aspire to be. They don't
We
pay
were talking
attention to
about
all
that.
the bumps and bruises that these guys took. Some of them sold their souls to get
Exactly.
in those positions.
Exactly.
So I always wanted to be careful about writing this book now that it's more of a motivational book and it don't highlight the past stuff that we did that we used to glorify.
So you don't want to highlight that stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to steer a kid wrong and be like, oh, he did this. I can take a chance because we grew up taking chances.
Right.
And we always looked to that guy at that level. We didn't care how he got it. We'd take a chance on getting it. any way we can to get it. So I don't want that to be. I don't know. I'm trying to be careful on how I write it, so it's taking a little bit longer. But the meat of the story is going to be a hell of a story.
That's
It's gonna be a hell
so
of a story.
that's so correct, because if you glorify sometimes the bumps we went through,
Yeah.
more people will be like, well, I can do it then and still be successful.
Exactly.
Like if I, if I sit and I give speeches on, I was a teen parent, I got pregnant when I was 15, and I'm successful
Yeah.
and I'm proud of it. But are other 15-year-old teen parents then going to say, well, if she did it, I can do it, and are more teens going to get pregnant because of it?
Sound good.
So you can't glorify sometimes all of it,
Yeah.
because then you might be pushing people in the wrong direction also,
Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah.
So, do you believe an ego helps or hurts authors?
Ego.
Correct.
It depends. It depends. I'm surprised by the response I've been given. I think I let less than 20 books go, and every person, I think almost everybody read the book.
Wow.
And I'm blown away by the response already.
Nice.
Like I'm blown away by it. So I don't think coming into this time, I might get an ego on the author side after this.
Well,
but right now I had no ego, so I'm coming in. So I think all along, because I haven't had an ego, that helped me. Like
It
if I get a
did.
big head now, I might write a trash book the next book.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So,
But there was a comment once that you said, and I remember telling Hamin this, and I said, DeAndre says, he's very confident about his book, King Me. All right, let's see what that's about, and it actually intrigued me to want to read it more, right? Because you're like, I'm confident about this book.
And I just be
okay,
talking.
right?
I was just
And you
talking.
right, and you might have not really meant it from I have a big ego type standpoint, but it just
Right,
came out, right?
right.
And so I was like, oh, really? So I told him, I'm going to read that book and see what that's about. Well, okay, so I can't say it's not good. It's phenomenal. So you can be confident.
Thank you, man.
You can be
Don't
confident.
give me a big head.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, but everybody that reads it, I think, is going to say that. So not just
I
me.
hope so.
I mean, I
I
think
hope
most
so.
people will definitely say that. Did anyone else list any other questions?
As far as people asking questions, there's a lot of people are just basically like Donna Beck said. I'll be reading this book. Sounds very interesting. A must read. Somebody mentioned that I think Medea was she's a glue.
Yes.
So a lot of people just had little comments to say that no one really had a question that I can see. So yeah, that's where we're at here.
It didn't seem like Tamika and King had a lot of friends outside each other. Would you say that's accurate?
No, they didn't. It didn't highlight any of that.
Right. It was more
really didn't.
about kind of like their solidness together, which is good and bad if you
It
think.
was almost like a twisted love story.
Right.
you know,
Right.
between just them.
Right. Because we didn't see a lot of interactions with a lot of friends
Right.
coming in and out of their life. They were focusing a lot on themselves and how to get ahead and care for each other.
There wasn't any social media in this book.
Right.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so you don't hear them on social media or dealing with the problems that we have to deal with every day on social media.
Because
you
a lot of
know?
us don't have friends like that we social media active.
Right, and we're always looking at it, and we're always thinking, are we good enough? Are we good enough as them? Are we keeping up with the Joneses? Are we out in the playgrounds? Or I'm saying this is how social media has made us.
Right.
So when you take that out of the element, it's just a focus on their life and getting ahead with their life, and they're not really looking at any of that. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
That's pretty
You guys
cool.
are kind of intelligent.
Thank you.
Dissected this book pretty well.
Thank you. You're intelligent for writing such a phenomenal book. Is there anything that you would want readers to know about this book?
I don't. I like people to be surprised. That's why I really didn't want to sit down with you guys now. I don't want people to see the excitement.
Right.
I want them to just pop them like,
You
whoa,
wanted to
like
see-
I can't
read it
put
on
it
the
down.
right.
Exactly. I want your reaction. I want them to feel that without anticipating having that reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now people be like, oh, it's hyped up. Oh, I don't like it as much. If it just quietly just slap them,
Right.
you know what I mean?
I
So
do know what you mean.
that's
I
why
do.
just-
So we got a question from Spring Violet. She said, We would like you to come to Park to speak to our students. We are looking for motivational speakers. What do you think
I'm
about
not a
that?
motivational speaker.
Okay.
But you could be.
Yeah, you could be. Why not? You know, you're writing these books. People are gonna be
because
looking up to you.
I need the motivation that I
We all do, but
like. When you asked me earlier, like when you described me earlier, saying I'm a motivator on Facebook and blah, like I literally, like, if you pay attention to my posts, I post when I roll over in the morning and wake up, because you know, when I was incarcerated, I wrote a book called Just a Thought, because it was nothing but quotes. Every day I wake up, I'd be like, all right, I trick myself. If you trick them, you can beat them. I tell myself that. So I write a quote, and I live by that quote for that day.
that's
And
great.
that's how I wrote one of my books, just a lot of motivational spirituals and quotes.
Well,
Yeah.
think about it. Think about it. If you ever want to inspire
Yeah,
some
'cause
kids
Becky-
at Park High School, because you've been through some things in your own life.
Yeah,
You know, like
but-
you said, you've been to prison, and now you're coming out writing books. You changed your life, and maybe you can inspire some of these kids in high school
definitely.
that aren't doing so
And
great.
I
That they
think that's
can,
what my mission is. It's just me wrapping my mind around it. Like I don't.
Right. Seeing
I
if
got
that's
I got a
something.
lot that I got going on. Man.
Right.
Like I don't.
Right.
But I do. I like doing it on a more organic level. Like the kids that I come across, I can catch you on the street and do that.
For
Right.
You know what I
sure.
mean? But it's like a challenge. If I got to go speak, now then I'd be nervous.
No,
and all this
right?
like
No,
that.
I know
Yeah.
we're nervous
Just
too.
let me do what I
when
do
we come
naturally,
on, for
and it's-
sure, definitely.
pretty soon you're gonna be doing
So-
these press releases for these books. You're gonna
Nah,
be
I'm-
traveling the world with these books. So
I'm really not with
get
all
ready.
that. So Spring Violet, I might.
Consider maybe.
Yeah, I consider it.
Think
Like
about
if
it,
it's
maybe.
some challenge kids, and I'm always for that.
If it's something that draws you, maybe you'll think about
Yeah,
it.
like I go to detention all day. If I see some kids, it's like, but I can't discriminate neither, because kids and you ain't got to be
Right.
in trouble to be needing.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah,
We
I'd
could consider maybe.
Yeah, I would.
You know, so I have a challenge for you since we took on this challenge with this book. So my mom and I recently saw this movie. It was called Overcomer. Have you seen it yet?
Overcomer, no.
Okay.
Is that the one with the guy was in the coma or something, and his mom prayed him back?
No, it's a girl who's running a marathon with asthma.
No.
Okay. And so when you have time or energy, consider seeing this movie. And the reason I'm saying this, DeAndre, is because sometimes we get caught up in wanting to.
Tell Violet, tell her
No,
I
it's-
will come to that.
What, the class?
Yep, African American history class. I definitely will come to that.
So Spring Violet, if
Okay.
you heard him,
Yes.
he said he would be
sorry.
interested
okay.
in doing your African American class.
Because I have a book based on that. My Heard About Tomorrow is based on that. I'll bring copies for the
Wow.
kids. So
Oh,
Good.
that'd be
I'll
great.
definitely-
So yeah, Spring. Okay, so Spring Violet, get in touch with him via his Facebook page. You know, he is tagged in this video, so you can reach out to him on Facebook here. So
What I was going to say is that if you have time to consider seeing that movie, and the reason I'm telling everyone to see this movie is because this guy was coaching this huge basketball team, and he had a whole basketball team, okay? And then all of a sudden he had to coach one runner. She was the only one who wanted to run track. And he kept saying to everybody, well, I'm not going to be able to coach just one runner. I'm not going to be able to coach just one runner. I'm used to these big basketball teams affecting these big groups of people, right? And he ended up just motivating this one runner in such a way that she had an impact on all hundreds and thousands of people. So I think like sometimes we get caught up on if we're not motivating 700 people on this post, it's no good, right? What if one person reads your book and has motivation
Or changed their
or
life.
that one student,
Right,
it's
right.
just the one, that they changed their life because you went that day anyways. But
See, now you're
Yeah.
slapping me in the
you know,
face. See,
because
so I
if
gotta
it's just
go.
even
Oh,
if
you
it's
need to
3
change
people
his
in the
one
class,
life,
you know,
not-
yeah.
Now, see, I wake up and write that quote to myself, and then I message you and say, all right, I'm coming.
right.
Yeah, see,
But I think if you read
shaming me right now.
no,
man.
not meaning
it's
that at
true.
all, but just
No, it's true, because that's when I say no, but then I consider it like if you can change one person's life, then all the headache and taking time out your schedule to do it, then it's worth it. And that's what keeps me going and doing what I do.
And a lot of that, I think even the idea for Raw Topic when me and Renee started was we were just fed up with things that was going on in the community, things that's going on with the young
people
youth.
not having a voice.
Yeah, and we said, you know what, we should start a Facebook channel or YouTube channel and discuss things that people are afraid to discuss or not discussing. and support our community by having people like you on and help promote what you're doing. And at first we were,
good
we were
stuff
afraid
here.
to do it. It's a live show, and we were like, man, I don't know, it's live, and we can mess up. And it's like, what? After a while, it's like, who cares? You know what? Let's just do what we were born to do, and let's get our voice across.
And we've made
You
mistakes.
guys doing a great thing. This is
Thank
this
you.
is
Appreciate
impressive.
you.
Thank
This is
you.
a great thing.
We've made mistakes, and we've done maybe 8 to 12 episodes, and we've made some errors, and we want feedback that's even not good.
Right.
Of
course,
like,
of
hey, we
course.
can't hear you right. Hey, your lighting's not right. Hey, this, hey that. Which
And we've got that.
Only get you better.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're like, okay, we'll take a look at that. Or maybe that video had only 100 views, and
Right.
maybe we didn't help people enough on that video. Maybe we need to do something different next time, because that's the real reason we wanted to do this.
Right.
So
Heidi Barnell said, will you post the link to your webpage in the future, which you did touch up on.
they want you the link to purchase your book.
If you go to my page,
Your Facebook page, right?
Yeah, you go to my Facebook page, you'll see the link to the event coming up this weekend. If you can't make it to the event, you can just inbox me, and I'll take care of you that way.
What is the name of that Facebook page anyway?
My Facebook page is DeAndre Mayfield.
Okay.
And then
My
there's
name.
also the King Me event page as well.
Yeah, the event page. Yes.
And that they would have to request to be on the
and
guest list.
If you want to, it's gonna be considered a private party. If you want to be on the guest list, you can inbox. You can inbox me personally. I'll put you on the list, or you can go to the event page and just click going or interested in going, and I automatically the day before I put everybody on that list. And
Will you
But
have
then-
books for sale at the event?
of course, I have boxes and boxes. and
Okay,
boxes
so
of
that's
books,
great
yes.
for people to know, because
Yes.
if they want to
I
show
will not-
up, get
I
a
will-
book, come to the event,
Meet you, have the book
meet
signed.
you, have the book
They
signed.
get all of that.
They
They
can
get
get all
something
that.
to eat, taste, dance. They can enjoy themselves.
Oh,
Like,
that
What is
sounds
the
great. I don't
what's
know,
the
are you on the
limitation
list
of
yet?
the guest list?
I have. But we'll see. A lot of people. When I had a book signing 7 years ago, it was called San Fran Grill out on Highway 20.
I remember
and
hearing
it was
about
jam packed. Like it was standing room only. But a lot of people was coming and going. A lot of people didn't stay for it, so they was just coming in, getting their book. They might have get something to eat, mix and mingle, and then they're out.
Right.
So a lot of people flow in and out.
Right.
It's not going to be like everybody come in the rave party and they just stuck standing there.
Yeah,
It's
they'll
gonna be a
come
lot of-
in,
yeah,
Okay,
meet
so
you,
people
get the
come
book
in.
signed.
It's casual.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
cool,
So we
good,
can
good.
dress casual.
So I will not run out of books.
Okay.
Yeah, dress casual.
You'll have the
I will
books
not
there.
run out of books.
And I just
have-
want to say this now. Put me on that list.
I got you.
Put me on.
I'm already on the list, I think, right?
got both of you
Okay,
guys.
so
Good,
we'll
good,
go.
good.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to miss out on this one.
There'll be project restoration paraphernalia there.
Great.
Buy T-shirts. You can do things. I have a lady bringing baked goods. I have Melly Mel, Poppers Off the Bone.
Cool.
Handing out
Cool,
samples.
cool.
It's going to be a nice event. But the next day, Sunday, I'll be at Divino Gelato. For people that didn't make it to the event, they can come to Divino Gelato from, I think I'm doing 1 to 3
We have
p.m.
books there too.
Oh,
Yeah, I have books there.
so
They can
that's
just
good.
get their book
If they
signed.
can't make it Saturday, they can
They
come
can come
Sunday.
the next day.
To
You know,
the
Downtown
Vino
to the coffee shop.
to the coffee shop.
Vino
Did you
Gelato.
put a post about that
Yes, I
too?
will.
Okay.
I definitely will.
Yeah, and have you reached out to Barnes and Noble about doing a
I
book
did.
signing there?
I did when I put my first book out. I didn't pursue it the way I should. I just took my
Yeah,
earnings
you might
and opened
want
up
to
my
get a
own
hold of
business.
somebody over there, manager, and say, "Look,
no,
I'm a
it's-
local writer, and I would
it's-
like to
Absolutely.
have a
that
book
easy.
signing."
I know,
it's
it
probably
sounds
ain't.
easier than it is.
So
Yeah,
I
it's
put it on
probably not.
Amazon Books, and I put an ebook out just to test the waters one time. And I know at least 10 people sold it. This was years ago. I know at least 10 people had bought my book because we had these type of dialogues about it. It was a relationship book.
Right.
And they give you every 3 months, quarterly, they give you a royalty check.
Yep.
Like a percentage that you made. I've never, for like 2 years it was on there, I haven't made more than $10 on it. And it was a $10 book. So I don't get,
Right.
like I was getting changed like 25 cents, something, blah, blah, blah.
So it's more
So-
involved than we
Yeah,
think.
and it was an ebook, so I'm like, well, how can I determine? Because I don't have a box of books with 27 books in the box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that count. So an ebook is an electronic book. I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, how do I determine how many books are sold?
Well, that's the thing
So,
with Amazon.
I felt like it was a gimmick.
Yeah, they
Right.
should definitely have
No,
better.
right.
They should give reports, and I'm on Amazon Prime too. I got videos on Amazon Prime before Raw Topic, just about what I was doing, and I know what you're talking about. Like, it's hard to really profit with Amazon right now. They need to really up their be more user friendly
They should,
and give more
yes.
reports to what's going on with your stuff you're selling with Amazon.
Yeah.
Because
For
even
sure.
I was, as a media video creator, I don't get the reports I would like to see as far as who's watching my stuff and all that. So I know what you're talking
See, I'm the
about.
type of guy right now. I related to this. A lot of people ask me about my books in this way, like rappers. They always shooting for a music deal, like
Right.
trying to get a rap label deal when they only giving them pennies. So I'm more like a Master P. I'm gonna just press up my own books, have them in the trunk of my car, and I make all my money, less stress, make more profit.
Hey, yeah.
I'm cool. If I sell 1,000, 2,000 copies, I'm
Yeah,
cool.
and I think
Put
you
the
do
next book
fine.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you
And I
do
make 100%
fine.
of my own money.
I get that aspect of it, DeAndre, but I think with this particular book, I think that it needs to hit a larger.
But how many authors have you seen like, bam, whoa, everybody talking about this book, and then you go back and be like, whoa, they have this book and this book, so then those old books become a hit.
Right,
It's
but
all
I
about
think with
timing.
this book, it's so phenomenal that I think it needs to be out
Yeah.
on a different scale.
Yeah, but it's how you get on that different scale.
I know, that's
I'm
true.
not gonna get raped to get
No,
on that
I,
different
for
scale.
sure,
I
So-
just,
for sure,
you know?
for sure. I get that part. Yes,
I
get
don't know
it,
if you
I
want
get
to
it.
talk about this or not, but you can shut it down. But you mentioned you want to do a podcast show where you can also promote
Yeah.
your stuff.
Me
You want
and-
to tell the audience a little bit about that, or is
me
that
and-
something you're not ready to talk
No,
about?
me and a couple guys was talking about doing a podcast. It was gonna be a slick concept. Coming here to see this, it's kind of inspirational to do one myself, but
So we both
I don't know.
inspired each other.
Yeah,
we all
definitely,
inspired. You
definitely.
inspired us.
But see, I didn't know what you guys was doing, so while I'm sitting here looking at it, like I can just bring a couple of those guys and we can just collaborate, like make this
Exactly,
a show
for
instead
sure.
of doing it.
Yeah.
Like they say, some things you can event twice,
Yeah.
but Lil Ray saying some things just collab, and it
Yeah.
can be bigger than what 2 or 3 different people do separately.
In general,
You know what
we
I mean?
need to stop hating
Yeah.
and start collaborating.
Right.
No
You know,
People need to come together
we
and
need
help
to
each
come
other.
together to do bigger
It's
things.
not always about competition, you know.
to do bigger
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
There's more we could do.
See, this is a great platform right here. You can make a lot move, and that was my intention with doing the podcast.
Right.
So this thing that you guys got,
Well,
here
yeah,
is
we
great.
would love to do some collaborations with you. In
For
the
sure, we
future.
would definitely,
Yeah,
and
so,
definitely when you're willing for us to all discuss the book, maybe in a couple months, if you're willing, we'd like to have you back with some readers,
Yes.
And
If we
have like
could-
a what do you call that?
like a book club, maybe
book club, yeah.
a live book club,
A live
where
book
we can
club
say,
review.
"Oh, what did you think about Tamika when she did this?" Or "What did you think about
And
King
have
when
it
he
all
did this?"
live and have everybody
Right.
with a copy in their hand from home,
Right.
looking at we know we'll talk about the pages you can find it on and have people
Yeah,
interact.
because I even wrote
We can all do
pages
a
of
big-
things that
a big
just
live
stuck out to me.
book
I was
review.
like, "Oh, on page 32 when they were in the bar scene, you know, and the guy sat next to her, and you know, and it's like I just have so many
You
notes.
should be a
and-
doctor by now.
I'm an
It's
NP.
crazy how you dissected this book.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm
She's
an
about
NP.
you real
She's
what 2
all-
years
I'm
away
getting
from a
close.
doctor
I'm,
degree.
I'm going back for MD, so
Yeah, smart. She's very dedicated. She definitely pumps me
I don't
up.
like to be.
Gives me motivation because of her drive, so she gives me drive
Yeah,
too.
you give me motivation too, so thank you.
All right.
All right, you guys. How about we wrap this up? Renee, anything you want to close out with?
No, nothing really. We thank you so much, DeAndre, for being on the show. I know I said it before, but the book that's coming out at the live book signing party next weekend, King Me, not only is the cover badass, I will say that because this is raw topic, it is so phenomenal to read, and anyone that can't get there to his book signing next Saturday should definitely come to the event the following that Sunday. And he's going to put information on his website and on his King Me site about the book. And thank you for coming. I know you don't typically do this. We appreciate that you did it. We appreciate that people will be moved by your book. And thank you, Hamin, for setting up all the logistics of a lot of the computer
sure,
stuff.
for sure.
So thank you so much.
It was a challenge,
All
you
right.
guys, trying to get this going, but we got it done. And in closing, you guys, get a copy of the book. If you guys don't got a copy of this man's book, what are you waiting for? Get a hold of him, jump on his Facebook page, and demand him to give you guys a copy because you want to read this book. This is a local guy here who wrote this great book. So support. Let's support each other locally, you guys. and let's sell this book out. Let's get it to the point where he can't even get you a copy no
Oh,
more.
I will. I'll get you
You'll
a copy.
figure a way.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gonna go get some more.
Right. And you guys, do not forget, if you have not already, please support us as well. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel. You can search us Raw Topic, and the link to our channel is actually, you know what? I didn't put in the description of us. I forgot.
That's okay. You're
But I
slipping.
will.
No, just
Yeah, I will edit this post and put it in the description of this video when I'm done. Or you guys can go to YouTube, just search Raw Topic. You'll see us on the first result page.
They can
right
hit
there.
the alerter bell too, correct?
Yeah, hit the subscribe and then hit the alerter bell so that you guys can be notified when we upload a video and when we go live on YouTube as well.
And thank you, John and Carol, for this. We
Yes.
did have it on Raw Topic.
For sure. Thank you. I killed the whole bottle, I think.
You did?
Oh,
Lord.
but you
Why
guys,
is my water?
for sure. And you guys, remember, if you guys can't keep it real,
Then you can always come raw.
Raw Topic. Peace.
Perfect.